Happy New Year! What's up guys, I'm Windsurf Pro.
And I'm Average Joe.
And welcome back to Secrets of the Sand. This week we're going to take a look at the Tweak 360.
No, the tabletop 360.
No, the stalled 360. So Taylor, how exactly would you describe the Tweak 360? I mean the stalled 360, the tabletop 360.
Well, Alex, whatever you want to call it, it's a super stylish evolution of the regular flat 360, except you go the wrong way and then you go the right way. How the heck do we do it?
Well, we're going to call it what the Duotone Academy app calls it, because that's our starting place for most moves. And then when we go into the Academy app, we're going to go into the jumping section, and we're going to go all the way down to the table frontside 3. So we tap in, and we're going to scroll down to the 4 tips that they tell us to keep in mind. First, they tell us to twist the legs and the board up, initiate the 360 at the apex, turn the head, hips, and legs through, and pull the wing through.
If you guys haven't checked out the Duotone Academy app yet, we highly encourage you to do so. It's a great resource that we use before almost every session, and it's a good place for us to refresh our basics and the more advanced moves as well.
So with those tips in mind, we're gonna take it to the water, and we're gonna send some tables. This move is super fun, especially for those of you who don't like to be humble with the jumps. So now we're going to show you guys 3 moves from our sessions when going for this move. One that we consider good, one bad, and one ugly.
We generally break down moves into 3 parts: the takeoff, the midair, and the landing. A good clip is going to nail all 3 of those spot on. A bad clip might miss 1 or 2 of those elements, and an ugly clip, you'll know.
Pause. We need to set some house rules on what we consider to be a good tabletop when you're going for the table frontside 360. Rule number 1, the board cannot stay under you when you're jumping, the board has to go in front of you.
And second, we need the board to rotate at least 90 degrees before rotating backwards. If it's not at least 90 degrees or to 3 o'clock on the clock, it doesn't count.
With those rules set, let's jump right into the good. Oh my god, Taylor has the good clip this week.
Getting into the takeoff, the first thing I notice is that I'm going not particularly far upwind and not super far downwind. I'm trying to hit a ramp to get nice good height, but I want to stay almost across the wind, if not slightly upwind.
And then the next thing you can see on the takeoff is immediately once Taylor is taking off, he's sheeting in on his backhand and pushing his front hand upward. That's allowing him to be pulled upward, and it's changing his momentum from going forward to up. When it comes to the midair, when you're initiating your rotation and you're trying to get the board around, we found that it was easiest to lead the rotation with your hips. You're gonna twist your hips around and you're gonna take your front foot and push it downward. And then as you're pushing your front foot downward and twisting your hips around, you're gonna pick your back heel up so it comes upward. That lifts the whole board up and gives you that nice tweak position. So once you finish your tabletop, basically, you're gonna go from the tabletop position and you're gonna do everything exactly the same that you would do for a normal 360. If you haven't seen our frontside 360 video, you can find a link right up here.
When I go for the tabletop and I come and I rotate my board the wrong direction, the way that I get my board to spin the right direction is not by kicking my foot back, but it's actually by pulling my arms down to my hip. If I focus on keeping my arms and putting it into a horizontal position like that, it's going to flatten my whole rotation out and it's going to make the 360 really smooth.
When it comes around for the landing, it's just important that you are keeping it in mind your basics of the 360. Right here you can see Taylor's holding the wing down by his hips and he's starting to drag his front hand through, like what we said at the end of the normal frontside 360. The last part with the rotation on the landing is just, it's important to get that wing up. It gives you the power in the wing and it allows you to balance yourself so you can come out of it clean. This one we chose out specifically because I still do land it, but you will see that there is a big element missing. So immediately on the takeoff, it's a really clean takeoff. You can see not going too far upwind, big tweak. And then right here, you can see I'm literally not pulling down on the wing at all to initiate the rotation. I am focusing entirely on kicking the board around, and while it is possible to land it this way, as you can see, It's not a full flat 360, and the whole rotation kind of comes around at a weird angle. That's why we encourage you guys to be pulling the boom all the way down to the hip. It allows you to flatten out your rotation rather than staying in a kind of weird angle. Whenever I've done the pulling method, it's always gone so much better. I've always done the full 360 in the air rather than landing and kind of finishing it off.
Ouch, your shins.
Actually, I did not even hit the board in this at all.
Incredible.
I went right next to it and didn't touch anything. Luckily, no injuries. It could have gone a lot worse, but anyways, let's break it down.
Maybe we start with what went right, or what, like, when it started falling apart.
Let's start with what went right. Like on the takeoff, you could see it's a really clean takeoff and a really, really big tweak. I was not being humble with this one at all. One benefit of looking downward towards the camera is actually your head will enable your shoulders to open a bit more, so you can actually twist a bit farther, which is why I was able to get basically a full 180-degree tweak with the board. I was able to turn it from the nose pointing straight up at the sky to the nose pointing straight down at the water. But then this is where the problem arose.
Going from almost a perfect tabletop 3 to an epic disaster, we're gonna see in this clip, is caused by pulling the front foot in order to initiate the rotation, as opposed to initiating the rotation with the wing.
While you can definitely do it with your feet, this is why I was saying it's a bit less consistent. It's also just safer to use the wing to rotate because you have the wind and everything pushing you around rather than you forcing everything around.
Now let's enjoy the carnage.
Here's some of our big takeaways from doing the tabletop 360.
Step 1, you're gonna stick your front arm up and sheet in with your back arm when initiating the pop.
Number 2, for maximum tweakage, make sure you're rotating the tabletop with your hips and your feet, not just one or the other.
Number 3, when you're ready to initiate the rotation of the 360, pull the wing down to your hips.
Number 4, when you're trying to land this move, make sure you're dragging your front hand through and up.
This week, there wasn't too much to break down in our clips, which is why we need you to send us your clips.
Film it. Use your iPhone, use your Android phone, use your GoPro, use your 360 camera. I don't care. I don't care if it's 4K or 360p. You can film it with a potato, for God's sake. Send us your clips.
Link in the description below. If you guys have been enjoying the content and you feel like you're learning something, make sure to hit that like button and the subscribe as well.
Don't forget to also ring that notification bell. It'll keep you up to date with all the future content that we'll be putting out. This has been Secrets of the Send. We'll see you guys next time.